Hi, I'm Jessica Rednicki with Reynolds & Reynolds. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm talking with Jason Sedaris, Vice President of Fixed Operations Product Management here at Reynolds & Reynolds, about the changing landscape in service. Let's get connected. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, Jess. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Over the past 10, 5, even 2 years, dealerships have seen a lot of changes. And one of the changes we continue to see is this push for a more digital business model, especially with the pandemic happening. And many dealers I've spoken with have asked, how much digitization is too much and how much is not enough. So Jason, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a great question. I think the fact is we need a mix of both in person and online. We're never going to get 100% of our customers doing everything online and vice versa. We did a study in early 2021 that told us that 78% of automotive consumers still want to make that final purchase in person. Similarly, 70% aren't yet comfortable with the idea of a fully online buying process. Now, if we think about that in terms of service, it's true that some dealers are dipping their toes in the water with pickup and delivery or remote repair options. But those are very costly, and it's not realistic to think that most consumers will not be dropping off their vehicles or picking them up for service. But that does not mean they want to communicate in person throughout the entire service process.
Yeah, and it's interesting to hear those stats because I keep reading articles that are totally focused on going, 100% online. Like you mentioned, 70% of consumers still aren't even comfortable doing a fully online buying process. But, Jason, it doesn't seem to be an all or nothing scenario. So where does that leave dealerships with balancing, like you mentioned, both online and in-person customer interactions?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Dealerships really need to adopt what I like to call a digital hybrid experience. Our industry currently operates in a hybrid scenario. In this framework, every dealership has a slightly different ratio of physical to online steps in the sales and service processes. And every consumer has different expectations. Take your service department, for example. In a recent study, we found that consumers truly desire a more digital experience on the service drive. For instance, 40% of respondents would like to check in for service using a mobile app. And 33% said they would like to check in and drop off their keys using a self-service station. These data points show that even though the consumer is coming into the dealership, they still want those digital experiences.
Well, I can tell you from personal experience, I use a lot of self-service kiosks when I'm out running errands. I was at Walmart the other day, and instead of going to, a cashier, I decided to use a self-service kiosk. So it's definitely a very convenient option, I would assume, for both customers and the business, especially for a dealership. So what happens once the customer drops off their vehicle, maybe using, that mobile app or kiosk, and then leaves?
Yeah, obviously, when the customer leaves while service is being performed on their vehicle, the dealership still needs to have an open line of communication with them. This is another area where we really see the digital experience gaining traction. In the past, advisors would oftentimes play phone tag with the consumer, trying to get them to approve work or additional service recommendations. But again, according to our study, 55% of respondents would like to receive a text or email for service recommendations. And 41% said they would like to have the option to approve or deny the work using a mobile app. Now, this can present challenges as well. It's not always easy to sell something through a text or an email. However, pictures and videos of the actual issues can go a long way in helping here. In fact, nearly 50% of the respondents said they would like to receive a photo or videos of recommended repairs.
Yeah, I can see how photos and videos would really help, sell a needed service. So it sounds like a good chunk, although not all of consumers would really prefer those digital options. We're talking about generational issues most of the time, when it comes to having that service work done. So what does this mean for service departments?
Well, I think all this tells us that dealerships in general need to have a digital hybrid experience. This type of experience allows consumers to interact with your dealership on their terms. For the customers who want the more digital option, you have things such as self-service kiosks, mobile applications, and convenient online payment options. But also we want to think about our website. Maybe one of the more important things is even scheduling services online. Now, this needs to be a tool that's both easy to use and carries over seamlessly into the dealership. This digital option not only benefits the consumers who want it, but it also frees up your advisors to focus on customers who truly need their face-to-face attention. So it really is a win-win scenario.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear that when you help your digital customers, you're also helping meet the needs of your face-to-face customers as well. Like you mentioned, when your advisors aren't having to do that manual data entry or just data entry in general, they have more time to focus on the customers who need their help. So good points, Jason. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to make sure our audience takes away from today?
Yeah, I think the fact is that now is the time to act. The pandemic has accelerated the consumer's demands to limit personal contact and to improve their digital experience. Dealerships today aren't being compared just to other dealerships, but rather retailers in general. Think about your last visit to the Apple Store or maybe your last purchase on Amazon. Consumers want options on how they choose to get their vehicle serviced and how they're kept informed. Dealers that provide these options will be more successful.
100% agree. Jason, thanks so much for coming on the podcast today. I enjoyed talking with you.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Jason shared some great information on the changing landscape in service. Before we hop off, don't forget, you can watch or listen to episodes of Connected on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to get notified every other Wednesday when new episodes are released. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks.